Hello everybody, and this is Chaos with Chaos Esports Productions, bringing you game number 3 in this viewercast series. Cris sent me a heck of a lot of replays. We're going to be taking a look at his PvT now, and we're going to go ahead and get right into this. Now, this game is a very quick game, as we can see over here, and that is because he is facing up against Cheese, and we are going to talk a little bit about how we deal with cheeses like this. He had the right idea in his build, and things were going very well until he took his eye off his units, and it just didn't end up very well. So he's going to be going for a relatively standard build. It's kind of like a 2-gate into a robo, and then you add your 3rd and potentially 4th gate, and then expand. It's a very passively safe build. You can be aggressive with it, but the way that he timed it out, it was more kind of on the back side. Couldn't really hit any timings or anything. So, Cris is going to be moving out, taking a look at what his opponent's doing, and we're going to go ahead and get right into speeding this up so we can get into the meaty parts. So, Gateway's going to be going down. Now, I do want to make one quick comment on Cornell Sky Island. It is forced cross spawn positions, which means if you spawn up in the upper right hand corner, your opponent is going to be in the lower left hand corner. If you spawn in the upper left hand corner, your opponent's going to be in the lower right hand corner. Simple as that. So going in and scouting this position, not very effective. Just small little detail. Going to be getting up his assimilator here shortly on 14. This probe's going to be coming down to the bottom, getting into his opponent's base. And he is actually going to scout the second Rex. Now, when I see 2 Rex, I think, well, I don't see any gas, and I see 2 Rex, which means he is definitely a viable option for him to be really aggressive. I've seen this cheese done a handful of times, where it's just he'll immediately throw down a 3rd Rex, and then start throwing out just send his SCVs and his Marines over, and you actually just barely miss the scout on the 3rd Rex here. So a little bit of a bummer. Zealot's going to be coming out, going to be getting out your Mothership Core and your Stalker, which is great. I do tend to like the Stalker Sentry Zealot little combo trio thing in PvT, just because it gives you flexibility. Zealots can tank the damage, the Stalker can do a little bit of DPS, and then the Sentry gives you the option of planting down that force field if necessary. Now, one thing that I do want to note is he's pulling out relatively early for this type of push. Usually it comes out about 6 minutes, and that way he can continue production throughout the entire thing. But so, here's the biggest problem. You move out with your army. You see that you send them down to this position, and then you immediately, if we look at your camera, you're looking at your main. Now we're going to slow this down to normal, and we're going to take a look at what you're looking at. You can see on the mini-map that you can see his, we can see his units. We know they are there. And right now is when all of these units need to be sent back into the main. You need to force field this ramp as soon as possible. That is going to be the key in surviving this little maneuver. Now, let's see. Let's take a look at your camera. You're still not aware of it. You just now look at it. Now, notice that you scrolled or did one of these with your clicker. That is probably not the most advantageous way to do it. You see the little icon, you click it on the minimap, you box your units, and then go. Or you have all of your units on a hotkey, and you double-click that hotkey and go straight to where the action is. That gives you the opportunity to save this Mothership Core, to save this Sentry, because these are the key things that you need to be keeping alive as much as possible. So he's actually going to take out your Mothership Core fairly quickly. Your Sentry is going to do its tickling effect on your buddies, and at this point you should be warping in more sentries. a single sentry, had it been warped in immediately once your units died, you could force field this ramp and you'd be safe for 30 seconds, which gives you enough time to warp in another sentry and potentially a stalker. Planning down these cannons take 40 seconds to build, whereas when you warp in something, it only takes 5. It's either 5 or 10, I can't remember. But having those units up like an instantly versus having to wait 40 seconds for them gives you that extra opportunity to seal this wall as quickly as possible. So going for these cannons is not the best option. Plus, these cannons are only powered by this single pylon, which is out in front, which means if this pylon goes, these cannons go, which means this 300 mineral investment is no longer useful. So we're going to speed it up to normal speed. He's going to come in, do a little bit of pokey poke, take out this pylon, and I'm not quite sure why you pulled back with these marines, or these probes. Had you sent all of the probes in at once, you might have had a better shot, but I think overall it was kind of a moot point at this, in this situation. So cannons finish up. You don't have any pylon to power them, and this attack is more or less, successful for him. So I think overall you had the right idea in your build. It was just a mechanics issue. Not having your units on a hotkey, I think, is probably the biggest issue. I don't know whether or not you did have them on a hotkey or not, just because of the way this interface is set up. But that would be my guess as to what truly went wrong in this game. Overall, I don't think the build was bad. You would have been going for the expansion, and then had you held off this attack, things would have been way in your favor, because he would have lost 90% of his SCVs and pretty much had nothing back at home. Yeah, he's got 440 minerals, but building stuff takes time, and you have the ability to warp in by building a proxy pylon over here. So I think overall it went fairly well until the end when you lost your units to a small error. But overall, I think your Protoss gameplay is pretty decent. Definitely Silver, Gold League type plays, but as you work on getting your APM up and understanding where your builds need to go and what you need to be focusing on, your APM will increase, and obviously you will do a little bit better over time. So I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to leave any comments, questions, or concerns in the comments below. If you are new to this channel, feel free to hit the subscribe button and check out some of my other content. I submit videos usually around two times a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then if extra videos come, they usually are on Friday and Saturday. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you would like me to take a look at one of your replays, feel free to send that replay to the email in the description, and I will see you all in the next game.